The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. The Talladega Super Speedway, as the final race in the regular season, is both a fan favorite but puts these drivers on the edge of their seats. Many drivers trying to fight for their playoff lives, and others trying to boost their totals and getting themselves more stage points and playoff points to help them in their championship endeavors. 88 laps here to sort things out and to make all of those playoff pictures come to fruition. Let's find out how it's all going to work out. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for today's coverage of the Florida Estate Builders Pro Series regular season finale. We'll be doing 88 circuits around the 2.66 mile track. Of course, going to be myself, Hunter Slip. Wow, this is starting off pretty great already. It's going to be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth, and the production truck. Apparently, I shouldn't, based on how this is starting off, but Hunter Sleppy will be helping me with the color commentary here this evening. Hunter, you are not Corey, I am not you, but what we are both going to be doing is watching a fantastic race. The two races prior this week have been thrillers, and no reason to think otherwise here tonight.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week. Monday, we had a last lap pass for the win after calamity ensued in the trial on the final lap. All that for Jake Nichols' win with about 15 drivers piled up. Jake Nichols being the only one to drive through that and come through with the win. Then Tuesday night, we had a little controversy on our hands because the winner of the session made a move below the double yellow line, and that was illegal against the area rulebook, so had to give the win to second place, and playoffs were set that way, but I'm expecting for the same chaos tonight. It should be calm in the early going. We really only get about 2 yellows a race, and then overtime we can probably count on that. We only went caution-free one race, so I doubt that happens tonight, but besides that, 4 of the 5 races that did have a yellow went into overtime, and each winner has made a last lap pass in every season, and it's been a rotating list of drivers that's won here in the past, so there's no real dominant effort. And also leading the most laps, again, does not matter. Last season, Josiah Sogak won. He led 11 laps. That was the most laps led by a winner at Talladega in the Pro Series. You can literally just lead the last lap. That's how important plate racing matters. Just got to keep your car relatively clean and in the right place at the right time at the very end.
Exactly, of course. Right place, right time, name of the game here at Talladega. Let's get you a little bit of a briefing as to the points picture coming into today. You'll see asterisks, asteri, I don't know the English on that. Those guys are already locked in, and top 20 make the points. And you can see there, 13th in points is Nate Stewart. He is in with a win not too long ago. That puts Mike Venable in a precarious spot. And again, they have to be in the top 20 for the win and in to be eligible. So any winner that, we saw Jeremy Brown win out of the 27th spot in points, that didn't do it. But we could have a new winner. We could have somebody in the top 12 drop out who hasn't won. And as I wrote there are 10 drivers there that are within 30 points of that 12th spot there, Hunter, which here at Talladega, that is very attainable.
Yeah, that's the beauty about Talladega, and being in a tight points cutoff. Can really be anyone that can come through unscathed, especially if you're having a somewhat solid season or if you're down in the gutter. it's going to be interesting. My cat is trying to get into my door, so I'll try to make this quick. Matt Kemp, he won at Daytona. He sits 18th in the point standings. He needs to stay inside the top 20 in points with that win in order to qualify for the playoffs, and he has about a 5-point cushion to 20th in points. Casey Lakatos, Reese Schaefer is well behind him. Any one of those guys win, and they're in and could change the whole playoff grid. Philip Groner, Daniel Day, Jonathan Evans, they're outside the top 12 in points. Michael Venable as well. Also got to watch out for Nate Stewart. If he somehow, after his win at Watkins Glen, he's eligible for the playoffs if he's still inside the top 20 in points. If he doesn't make it through tonight unscathed, gets caught up in a wreck, could be outside the top 20 in points. It's that easy. It can happen to anyone. He sits 22 points above the top 20 cutoff.
Exactly that. And I did hear the other day the driver that did go below the yellow line, who was that, Peyton Howell that was, he had to make the strategy decision. He said, if I knew if I did that I was going to get penalized, and I had to take the risk and reward factor, consider those situations there, and is making a certain move going to potentially put you in that precarious spot. Going to have to make those decisions. But again, I want to thank everyone tuning in here to PTR TV. If it's your first time, don't make it your last. Hit that like and subscribe button here. We're at about 1,700 subscribers there on the YouTube side, and on Facebook looking to grow that as well. And if you're on Twitch, I think we may be having trouble on Twitch right now. I don't know why, but if we are, but if you are, consider subscribing on getting your $5 a month in. You can get your custom emotes and what is it, your merch, and earn double points, all that fun stuff. So again, just go along for the ride with us. But we will now wait for these guys to qualify. We will not have any DNSs here today, or DNQs, whichever you fancy. We have about 35 strong here. Everybody will make today's efforts. Take a look here. It's just waiting for times to come in. Pull up on the ticker. We'll see who has run what. No times coming in just yet. Again, one lap. It's just one and done. There goes Anna Sogak, top of the board. And again, they will all fly in within thousandths of each other. There's Ben Pierce going 7th. Who else do we got rolling on in here? Sebastian Marin, he is about halfway through his lap. Looks like the 48. He should be coming in next. That's Jeff Wright. And this is something I have not figured out, Hunter. I saw this the other day in the trucks, and it seems to be coming through again here in Xfinity. They either run a normal lap or they run around a 1-minute lap. I can't figure out if that's intentional or if there's some kind of thing that goes on to dictate those extremes.
We're talking about the 1-minute lap. Is that their actual qualifying lap, or is that just the warm-up lap?
Because typically it doesn't register as, maybe it is. For all I know, it could just be a weird timing thing. Didn't consider that, because usually coming out of the pits, I would think it'd be a longer out lap than that, but well, so far they're not registering. So I know some drivers like to start at the back. So, but either way, here comes Brad Slaughter. He was one of those run at the back guys on Tuesday night, and then on his way through the field, he got caught in the mess and didn't get that run he desires. They under the flat there in qualifying. I'm going to assume that's legal. A 54.402. Where will that put him? P12 as Sebastian Marin temporarily, if not definitively P1.
Yeah, that is legal, so you can do that during qualifying, but don't do that during the race. Otherwise, you're going to be given a harsh lesson to, and might cost you dearly.
Up here is John Forbes, one of those drivers not locked in. He's in the top 12 as it stands, but close enough to where issues may come afoot. And coming through the tri-oval here and cutting whatever he can. It'll be about a 10.5 off, but here at Talladega, a 10.5 off puts you P5. Getting some stuff here in the chat. Of course, got to thank our partner Lucky Dogs, not really a partner but a friend, always helping us out here and being along as a supporter. David Weishart has the worst ISP in internet history. Due to that, I'm not able to attend tonight, so that is unfortunate for Mr. Weishart. There goes Jeremy Miller, P20.
Yeah, rough go for David. He was leading coming to the travel on Monday night, and then just bad blocks or bad moves being made by other drivers ended up creating a wreck. allowing Jake Nichols to come through with the win. Currently the third quickest. Reese Schaefer, 18th quickest. He is within that top 12 threshold of points, which, again, it's going to be interesting because Nate Stewart, Matt Kemp, they could possibly be outside the top 20 after this one's all said and done. Just got to make sure you keep a clean car and stay in the running.
That is what is the most important here. We'll switch over to warm-up. I know the other night we had a lot of power outages across the field, which led to some issues, and then we did run the full warm-up. Not sure if they'll run the whole thing through here tonight, but always good to get one last opportunity to pit, as we have a little car glitching shenanigans going on there. But always good to get a pit stop in there, Hunter, especially here at Talladega. Just get your last second refresher. It is a higher than normal speed limit comparative to most tracks, and I think we saw a few times on Tuesday night, may have saw it Monday night as well. Very easy to overshoot your pit box here or to flat speed on entry to pit road. So always important to give that a test or two before you get into the race.
Yeah, you always want to make sure that you get on the pit road safely and don't want to mess up too much. Driving in too deep could create a wreck there. Overshooting your pit box could be crucial there, whether that be under yellow or under green flag conditions. That's going to be a major concern for these guys because at some point they're going to have to make green flag pit stop. It's not going to be a caution fest, and you always got to pit with a buddy or in a group. You don't want to pit by yourself, otherwise you've got no draft, you've got no one to help you go forward or have any momentum on your side, and then eventually the pack will catch up with you and swallow you up.
Yep, that is what will happen here. I will be interested as well to see what the differences are between the Xfinity car and the truck. Of course, new build comes out. I don't think too much change between the two, but always interesting just to see the different dynamic between all the vehicles. I know you talked, Hunter, about Monday night, and I did read in the Discord amongst all the drivers, they made the next gen too realistic in the sense that it wasn't very fun to watch or race because of the 2x2 gridlock. Of course, the trucks did not have that problem, and Xfinity, typically some of the best plate racing on the service.
Yeah, it Cup was a little bit too realistic. Guys weren't happy with having to go just side by side, couldn't go 3 wide. Seth Knoll said at one point during the race that this is 40-50 laps into the race. He said, I haven't even gone full throttle yet. That's just that was next gen in a nutshell. Tuesday we could get some momentum rolling on that third lane, 3 wide, sometimes 4 wide. It did result in some wrecks though, but I'm expecting a little bit of a mix, mostly 2 lanes, but you can get that third lane going if you really want to. It's just a matter of keeping a consistent push and don't want to get too out of line because that could create the big one.
Yep, and I don't want to say, we probably saw 2 big ones. We saw one on the back straightaway and then a couple small ones, but luckily not one that completely took out the entire field, which is obviously what you want to see. But now we are getting ready to head down trackside for the starting lineup, and our starting lineup always brought to you by Central Mobile Homes. If you're looking for a new home, I lost my read here. If you're looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a triple crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 29 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plan shed designs and triple crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com to get started today, and let's get started with that starting lineup there, Hunter.
Yep, on the pole it's going to be Sebastian Marin, and then alongside him Jonathan Evans in the 26, going to be in second. Row 2.
Oh, sorry, distracted there.
Oh, my thing's glitching out too. Jake Nichols starting P3. P4, it's going to be Justin Opplinger in the 55. Row 3, Braxton DeWeese is 5th. Alan Fox in the 90s, going to roll off 6th. 7th is James Skyley in the 7, and 8th is the 17 of John Forbes Jr. And then row 5, Blaze McKinney in the 87, and Justin Bolton in the 4, going to roll off 10th.
And we have Casey Lakatos. He's fighting for his life there in the playoffs in 11th, with Justin Anasogak. Did so well the other night. Took out in a big one, didn't get to have that run to show for it. Nate Stewart in 13th out of Antarctica. Again, the new flag system here in play. Garrett Grant in 14th. 15th will be Matthew Batby, and then Philip Groner in the 16th spot. Daniel Day in 17th with Greg Mitchell Mitchell in 18th, and then rounding out our top 20, we got Mr. Travis Beckner, and then Reese Schaefer there in 20th.
21st is Brad Slaughter, the number 8. 22nd is Zach Kerr in the number 12. 23rd, you got Jeremy Miller in the 30, and alongside him, Ben Pierce in the 65 and 24th. 25th, Ed Robertson in the 64. 26th, John Furness in the 28. Nico Servideo is 27th. 18th is Bryce Senesac in the 09. Brian Nowicki starts 29th in the 74 car, and alongside him, Michael Venable in the 77. It's going to be P30.
And we'll just round things out here with our 36-car grid. We got Connor Horn 31st with Jeff Wright in 32nd. Then Francis Hamilton 33rd, Brody Fallaker in 34th. And then the last row of drivers will be as such, Joseph Berg and Forrest Smith. Oh my goodness, this is starting off well. We have a rather intensive line of penalties circa last race. And that will be as follows, with Philip Groner, Connor O'Kresick, Greg Mitchell, Brady Welleman, Jeremy Brown, Rafe Slate, and then Liam Sheen. Again, not everyone actually here, but the penalties, will roll over to whenever those drivers are next on the track. And if you're going to have a penalty, end of line, I can't think of a better track to have that penalty on, one where track position really doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, I mean, you can afford to have you can't afford to have an EOL. You might be in a deficit in the beginning, but that happened to quite a few guys on Monday night. They didn't have EOLs. They had drive-thrus, and as they were serving them, the next lap, yellow came out, so no harm, no foul. They just basically restarted in the back of the field and didn't have to lose the draft or didn't go a lap down. Don't think we have anyone with drive-thrus tonight, so that'll be a good thing. One thing to keep an eye out for is that 24 of Sebastian Marin. He's looking to get 6 wins on the season before this one is said and done, the regular season. Trying to go, not perfect, but trying to go 50-50. Win half the regular season races. He's the guy that everyone is going to be chasing after for in the playoffs.
Exactly that, and just trying to have that confidence. And here we are at Talladega for the season cutoff. And then next week, we will be heading right to the bipolar opposite of what we're doing here today, heading to the Bristol Motor Speedway to try and start the playoffs off. So try to get that momentum built up here while you can. But we're going to head into the Tri-Oval. Again, that famous Talladega line. The start-finish line is at the end of it. We'll head on through into the United Rentals restart zone regular season finale. Who is going to get locked into the playoffs? 88 laps to find out the answer. Sebastian Merritt on the loud pedal. Barney has the flag and he's waving it. Let's go racing from Dega. Heading off into turn number 1, of course, door to door, getting up to speed at about 170 miles an hour. We'll top out about mid 190s. Interested to see what the aggression level is going to be. Again, no stages or no interruptions in the race. It will be just flag to flag. So what will be the aggression level? Are we going to be going all at it, or are we going to be buying some times? I know we were talking about that off air, Hunter. We might have some green flag running. It is a longer race than even on Tuesday. So a lot of time to be had. What risk level do you take this early in the race?
Not really any. Just run your race right now. Try to get lined up with your teammates if you can, if you're relatively close. Marin's going to lead the first lap. I'm looking back there. I think, Travis Beckner make a move. He was making moves quite a bit on Tuesday night. Him and the other two Hendry County trucks that were in the truck race, they weren't afraid to be aggressive, and they always seem to be somewhat near the disaster zone, but never caught up quite in it. But I would expect to see Beckner to be the first one to make it 3 wide.
Yeah, Travis Beckton, those Hendry County guys, as you said, always looking to get that third lane going, but as of now, staying put. Is that Beckner, I don't know, it seems like a different paint to what we're used to here today. Usually he's in that silver and black car, but a little bit sporty here today in that blue and white car. But coming through the Tri-Oval here, lap number 2. Again, pace lap formation, quite literally. Everybody in the lead draft. Nobody's really straggling behind. And up front, Marin leading that inside charge along with the push from Jake Nichols in the 73. Jake Nichols in the truck race there, Hunter. he was one of those ride in the back and do nothing to all race drivers. Here, a little bit different strategy. I know it didn't work out for him. I wonder if he decided, hey, tonight, you know what? Putting in the back didn't work. Let me start going for it tonight.
Yeah, and he's still winless on the season. He's looking for his first win of the season on the Pro Series side of things. He's got the most top 10s out of any Pro Series driver with 10. All but one start. Can't remember what start that was, but pretty good stat to have. Actually, I think it was Daytona. I think he was caught up in a crash early on, but Beckner's up there in that third lane. Affiliate Justin Sogak up there. He won this race a season ago. So the third lane's starting to get rolling here as we're already on lap 4.
Yeah, this race setting to be around an hour and a half if it goes green, which whether it goes green or not, that is a big stretch to have. But here comes Justin Sogak, and he was a phenomenal pusher the other day and just didn't get the reward for it with the last lap follies. But there's that push from Beckner, from Furness there, getting that third lane going. That Xfinity car not shy with the third lane. Beckner and Sogak with the hard clear down to the inside, leaves Furness down up by his lonesome. He's going to wait for the push from the 17 of John Forbes.
Was a bit aggressive on that move down to the inside nonetheless, but both these guys have won in the past at Talladega. Season 3 for Beckner, and mentioned before, season 6 for Sogak. On board with John Forbes Jr. Still pushing on that outside lane with John Furness. Brody Falker, I think, was the car that was blinking in and out. I could be wrong. Might be the one behind him, but
yeah, behind.
No, it is Falker.
Yeah, it is.
He is
the
blinking
one.
in and out. That's not something you want to see, especially if you're right in the middle of this pack like Reese Schaefer or Bryce Senesac to the inside of that.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're at, COTA and everyone's separated by 10, 15 seconds. You got the room to spare, even at Charlotte perhaps. But here at Talladega, you don't have the patience, you don't have the time, the reflexes to deal with that. So hopefully it does steady out whatever it is, gets itself sorted through. But Marin did lose the lead, obviously, in that shuffle. And then look at Sogak. He's not afraid to play traffic cop. He's not afraid to play elevator man. He's going top to bottom, trying to steal the lanes, steal the momentum. Now the momentum's going to be from the top. Alan Fox in the 90 with the push from the 55 of Justin Opliger. Will Sogak go to the top? No, he's going to ride Marin to the bottom. Marin with a very hard clear on the 27 of Beckner.
Yeah, and Sogak 30th in points, so winning in really doesn't matter for him. Just win. Doesn't matter about playoffs. You want to have your season somewhat going in the right direction or get some momentum rolling towards the next 5 races. So if he can get a win, that'll be great for him. He's won before at both plate tracks, Daytona and Talladega, but now he's got some fierce competition to his outside in Travis Beckner.
Yes, he does, and you are seeing there in the back of the shot, some drivers have hit the abort button and have decided since to take their luck here later in the race, not try to make those aggressive passes. Who's going to be the leader of that charge? Maybe around Daniel Day in that 61. He's in 25th, and you get to see the Conga line all the way to the back. There are some notable names back there: Slaughter, Connor Horn, Ryan Nowicki in the truck race. He played survival, and he ended up fabulously due to it. So can't write those guys out yet. That old Terry Labonte, Dale Jarrett strategy of riding in the back. But Travis Beckner enjoying the lead, 7 laps in. I'd imagine we'll see fuel between 36 to 40. That seems to be the trend. So we'll see if that also continues here tonight.
Yeah, I would imagine so as well. And Jonathan Evans up there leading that outside lane. Oh, I thought someone was going to spin out back there. We'll have to look at points. He is 14th in the standings. Trying to look at where he's at cutoff-wise. He's very close to that top 12 bubble, but if we get a new winner, that could spell disaster for him. But he's got Garrett Grant pushing him on that outside lane with Reese Schaefer. Another 2 guys to keep an eye out for. Garrett Grant had a shot to win this race a season ago before a bad bump in the Triangle knocked him loose. So he is also looking to just get a win on the regular season. Grant outside the top 20 in points, 27th. So these guys are deep in points. They're just looking for wins to cap off the regular season on the high note.
Garrett Grant, he was working with, I believe, Weishart the other day in the truck series, and he found himself in contention late in that race, on those multiple green-white checkers or late race sequences. But again, the strategies and the luck of the draw not to his benefit. But currently that 5 car running in the 4th-ish spot, 3rd to 6th. I mean, when you're in these 2x2s, sometimes you'll be 3rd, sometimes you'll be 7th. Just kind of depends on the ebbs and flows of the line. But giving that push to Evans, and I think that's Brad Slaughter trying to make that 3rd lane work, but hard to make a 3rd lane work by your lonesome. And now John Forbes, guess that advice didn't heed to him because he's trying to do the same thing. And you can see getting a little bit of a run just because of the checkup, but then he will go choo, choo, choo unless he can find a gap in the line.
Yeah, John Forbes in 8th in points. Not really sure what the strategy is here, if he thought someone was going to go with him or not, but he's keeping it tough on that outside lane. Looks like John Furness will be one to take him in, at least for now, depending on if he goes to the inside or not. But no, it looks like it's just those two on that 3rd lane trying to get something rolling, or maybe going to the back together.
We'll see what it is. Lap number 10. Again, this race going by pretty quickly, and these guys just doing kind of what we expected them to do. And we did get a couple little scenarios. Matt Kemp could have a bad race. I think you may have already talked about it. He is locked in, I believe, but he is could drop out of the top 20. Furness and Venable, that could be a playoff battle if that happens. You never know what could happen if somebody, 13th through 20th or even outside the top 20 gets in. John Furness, all these things at play. And I know, Hunter, a lot of these drivers are on a team, and they probably have these scenarios to an extent played out. So how much do you think they may be looking at it? How's this guy running? How's that guy running? Do I need to be ahead of him? Do you think those are at play live behind the wheel?
I'd like to say yes, maybe not right now, but at some point towards the end of the race, if they're going to be in a viable position to where they need to get their driver up front to win, then they're going to do everything they can to make that happen. As far as getting a certain driver in, not sure who that is yet, but we'll know in about 70 plus laps as the field is dwindling towards the finish line. As got more 3-wide action, and there goes Garrett Grant jumping up in front of Blaze McKinney, trying to lead that 3rd lane through.
Yep, see where they can stand here right now, about 3rd in lane. But again, that Xfinity car has a great side draft model. It gets to the outside of Schaefer, trying to squeeze down there, and then trying to get a little side draft off the 26, hoping that momentum comes through as Beckner and Anna Sogak leading the charge. And let's watch that momentum come potentially from Garrett Grant on that 3rd lane. He's all the way out there, now on board with Beckner, and let's just watch that 3rd lane. Beckner changing lanes back to the inside, took the momentum off of Evans. Now going back to Anna Sogak, and here comes that 3rd lane, 87 to the outside. That's Blaze McKinney, a name we don't talk about too much, but giving a good shout to Grant, and let's see if that lane can surge.
Yeah, McKinney sits 10th in points right now. Now, he is currently the last car in on points alone, 7 points above John Furness, who is also in this pack. I was going to say pushing him, but he's behind John Forbes Jr. on that outside lane. So a lot of rotating pieces here inside not only just the top 12, but around the top 20 as well.
And a lot of stuff going on to take heed of. And again, everybody still in this lead draft. Not had a single person fall off. Last place is Nico Servideo in the number 18 car. But even him still in the draft, could make it work at any opportunity. But again, just going for that safety route. Usually we see somebody who's fallen off the back. Not quite here today, but Garrett Grant still trying to make that 3rd lane work. Still has the solid push, about 5 cars strong to that outside lane. And you got to give Beckner credit. He has been doing a fabulous job of maximizing the momentum from each of those lanes and staying put up front.
Yeah, trying to do everything he can, whether that be block middle. No, I don't think we've seen him go up on that high lane yet. It's just been middle and bottom. Although now he'll have to stay in the middle, and Sogak with a strong run on the inside, but Beckner with a stronger push from behind from Jonathan Evans. Now he'll go low heading into 3.
Up down into the inside, and just has that momentum. That 3rd lane starting to fizzle. Brody Falliker in that 1 having issues, and again, that will have to make Opplinger in that 55 really, really scared as he doesn't know what to do. He's 130 real-life race wins there on a David Weishart Motorsports. Probably wants to have a good run for multiple reasons, of course, with David Weishart not being here. But you can see he's here. Now he's getting the draft, and this is probably the worst part of this there, Hunter. He's getting a draft now, but every time Falliker blinks out, he loses the draft. So that's not just being scared. It's actually costing him momentum.
Yeah, that's the tough part about this, because you don't want to be right up on someone who's blinking in and out, because they could end up unblinking at the wrong time. Blaze McKinney had an interesting bump there from, I think, Matthew Bappy in the 71. But yeah, you don't want to see that happen. I mean, we saw that happen at the beginning of the Daytona race on lap 1 heading into turn 3. There was a glitch and a bad bump from some unknown internet error, and it ended up creating a wreck that collected half the field. So you don't want to be a part of that or be close to that. So always want to give a little bit of courtesy, but that is going to hurt the outside lane if that continues to happen.
Yep, and just right on cue, there it goes. Luckily it is in short burst, but to the 8 of Brad Slaughter, he is a little further back probably than he would like to be off the back bumper of Opplinger. If he can get closer, that will provide a little bit more drafting assistance to that lane. There goes the 93 of Joseph Berg, a solid run, but you can tell they are given a fair amount of space. There's not really an aero bubble per se with the Xfinity car. But you can see everyone, for the most part, giving ample space. And I'd have to imagine that's a patience thing, as the 13 of Braxton DeWeese pulling the reset. Actually, do we have some off strategy here?
Oh, McKinney spinning sideways. One car in the grass, actually 2. Nate Stewart was one of them. There's another one still trying to corral himself in the grass. So it seems like early pit stops, possibly for fuel on the fuel strategy mode, but it went terribly for some.
Yeah, look at Nate Stewart's perspective here. You saw the 87 get loose. Stewart gets himself in the grass. That's the 15 getting himself in the grass. That's Forrest Smith. So interesting strategy here to pit early, get tires. Maybe they want to be out of the wreck. They want to have full bore, maybe have a shorter pit stop later on in the event. But when you make that cataclysmic mistake, you never know what iRacing is going to do with the penalty system. Will they get some kind of a pit penalty for going into the grass? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But we'll see how that all fizzles through, as they're still 3 wide for the lead. Here comes Opplinger with the push from Slaughter, with also the push from Berg there. That third lane seeming to go. Will Opplinger drop down to the bottom upon clearing? Actually, we won't know because he didn't clear.
Yeah, that's a interesting look at these guys. And Garrett Grant, I swear, he was up in that outside lane just a couple laps ago. Now he's all the way back there on the bottom. You can see the white and black car behind the 3 wide action. Now it's Opplinger that's being led, or leading the outside lane. Becker had a wiggle there in the middle. Brad Slaughter in the 8. Haven't talked about him yet all race. He loves these super speedway races. He is pushing Opplinger in that 3rd lane.
Yes, he is, and at 4, it's basically 4 versus a lot more. That 3rd lane doing a great job with a lot less cars. There goes Slaughter. I think he's getting too toasty there. That, radiator getting a little bit too hot. Had to pull out of line for some fresh air. That will certainly hurt the momentum of that 3rd lane. And coming on through, and here comes the 27 again with that push from Reese Schaefer. Again, something we haven't talked about all race, but it is a plausible thing. Once you start pushing like Schaefer is, you have to be mindful not just of how you push the car in front of you. You got to be mindful of those gauges that you don't overheat the engine.
Indeed, is now Bryce Senesac, the new leader on that outside lane, shuffled up to the outside, with Opplinger now pushing from behind. He sits 25th in points. About 30 points or so from the top 20 cutoff, so it might take a little more than a miracle of a win to lock Bryce Senesac in the playoffs, at least for now. But looking for a solid performance on the season is the 09. No top 10s to his name whatsoever. They're 4 wide splitting lap traffic. This could be bad.
Now that's the 65 car going 1 lap in arrears due to Ben Pierce, so he must have been one of the drivers who had the faux pas there with the pits. And our second pack, Nate Stewart, Justin Bolton, the 13 involved. That's Braxton DeWeese, and a little bit of a bump and run boot and scoot there. I don't think that was intentional, but Nate Stewart wants to go and must not have thought Bolton was going. Bolton couldn't hang on to that bump draft, and this is all 1 lap down. These drivers did have extended pit stops, so that is why Stewart is 1 lap down from going out wide in the pits.
Justin Bolton's a lap down too, but that 4 car, he sits 17th in points. He's not eligible for the playoffs if he wins, but he's got 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s to his name in 6 starts. One of those finishes being a 4th from Daytona, so he knows how to put himself in the right position, but already in a deep pickle early on.
I mean, you have to imagine at some point, I mean, there'll be a caution. There's 4 guys now off the lead lap. You have to imagine we'll have some cautions. They'll get back on the lead lap. You just don't want to be involved in the caution. But you have to remember the last NASCAR Cup Series race anyways that went caution-free was actually at Talladega, the 2002 EA Sports 500, the last caution-free race in NASCAR history, because with stage racing, it will never be caution-free. So this track does have the opportunity to do it, maybe not the propensity, but there is the opportunity. But with everything that we have on the line there, I wouldn't put my cards in that category. I think something's going to happen at some point given this 3-wide racing.
Yeah, eventually it will. I mean, the Area 500 did go caution-free this year, but 2 laps into the Cup race Monday, there was a yellow, so scratch that off the plate. But I don't think this one will go caution-free. I think at some point some of these guys are going to get a little bit too charismatic with their moves. Like we've seen the 27 and the 88 make a couple of daring blocks already early on. So at some point it's going to come down to a bad block, because we saw that happen Tuesday night as well with Garrett Grant. He kind of hesitated whether he wanted to go on the outside lane on the backstretch or one of those late race restarts or not, and it kind of triggered a yellow. And then we all know that last lap all bets are off.
Exactly that. Once that white flag hits, and you did see Beckner try to go to the bottom block in a Sogak, but Justin just had too much momentum, and at some point it's just not worth the bump if the speed difference is that high. And this angle really shows you that the surges, that third lane getting that big surge. 71 of Batby, 09 of Senesac. There goes Opplinger, there goes Slaughter, and the 1 of Falliker trying to get on in. And that inside lane, look at Marin. Marin has far distance off that 26. That's not helping the surge for the inside lane when they're that separated back.
Not one bit, because they're still 3 deep for the first 5 rows or so. Batby now leading that outside lane. It's just a rotating list of drivers now coming up on that 3rd lane, but it's still the same between Beckner and Sogak. One of them's leading the inside, or one of them's leading the middle, or both could be on one lane. We've seen Beckner do that multiple times on the bottom. He's got Reese Schaefer pushing him through down the bag.
And Beckner has been really aggressive on that side draft, trying to maintain position, trying to maintain speed. And you can see there, top of the shot, there was that second pack that we were just following, the pack that is over a lap down. Of course, we won't be able to see it from this angle, but once we open back out to the straightaway, as we're on board with Reese Schaefer in that 07 as 27 cleared back to the bottom. That is that pack that it contained Nate Stewart. And Nate Stewart, again, he winning in, he would have to basically finish last to miss the top 20. So even though he probably still is fine, currently running 34th, Braxton DeWeese is on the lead lap right now, even though he is in that pack, as is Blaze McKinney. They are on the lead lap, so we kind of have a mixture of the 2 strats here. But speaking of the strategies, the other drivers probably about 10 laps to their pit stops, and they'll have to get sorted out, sort things through. But here comes Anna Sogak now to the middle of the racetrack. Was running the bottom, now he's in the middle. He has the run. Will he drop and leave Reese? Answer is yes.
Yeah, tough decisions have to be made here. Almost 25 laps in on the race, about a quarter of the way done. Still, Anna Sogak and Beckner have been the front runners all day long, and Reese Schaefer's kind of been up there, but he hasn't been able to lead the lane or an opportunity to do so yet. So he's doing that right now in the middle before presuming one of these guys go up and block. That being the 88 of Anna Sogak in the bottom lane, and on the outside lane, it's still just a few guys left. Senesac kind of fading, Batby in the 17, and Forbes Jr. in the 17. So teammates working together, and there goes the 88 in the middle.
Yep, going up to the middle, again, it's getting all that momentum. I won't say those moves are overly aggressive yet. I think he's doing them with ample space. Just he sees it coming and he's preparing for it. and then just hoping that that driver gives him the push rather than making an aggressive move otherwise. 17 of Forbes, 71 of Batby. Only 2 drivers rocking the third lane here at present, coming to take lap number 27. All 27 laps here today have been under the green flag, and again, setting up for pit stops in about 10 or so laps. We've seen an alternate strategy. We won't know if it worked. We won't know if it doesn't due to the fact the drivers had pit issues. Talked about pit issues in the pre-race. And, of course, that came to volition very early in today's event. So we'll see those team orders. We'll see those drivers trying to meet up with each other probably over the course of these next 8 or 9 laps. Got to get situated and prepare for that big moment.
Yep, it is. Again, it's just those 2 teammates on the outside lane, the lucky ducks of John Ford Jr. in the 17 and then Matthew Bappy in the 71. Reese Schaefer in the 07 still in that middle lane, and it's still Anna Sogak and Beckner on the bottom, with occasionally Anna Sogak going up to block the run from the middle lane. But despite only being 2 cars up there, that third lane, although they're losing speed now, they are hanging tough.
Yeah, they're doing the best they can, and I mean, they kind of have to stay tough only in the sense that there's not really an abort button right now. If you look behind, you really have to go all the way back to Slaughter before you find a gap. So at this point, I mean, you can kind of just push as hard as you can. Maybe some momentum, maybe someone comes up to push. If not, just your slow burn to the back. And who is that? Joseph Berg. Well, he's the person that says, yep, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go up there. Will that work, or will that slow them down even further? Looks like Forbes giving him a solid push. And will that bring Furness up to the top? Will Schaefer, will Anna Sogak try to block up to the third lane if they can get it moving, which they seem to be.
Joseph Berg started dead last in this race, so it's kind of hard to imagine. Well, not really now. We're almost 30 laps in, but it's still just baffling to see someone from that far back in the field be this far up in that amount of time. I mean, you got to methodically work your way through, whether that be middle, bottom, top, 3 wide, sometimes 4 wide with lap traffic, but through the midst of it all, he is leading that outside lane, and he's got a big enough push to where he can say that he's the current leader of the race. That's how good it is for that 93.
Yes, it is. He has the lead temporarily, and how long will it last? He's going down to the inside. You have to imagine at this point that Forbes is getting a little toasty in that radiator. He's not going to be able to sustain that level of pushing required as that lead pack, well, that pack in front getting ever so close to this 3x3 bunch. Anna Sogak down on the inside. Marin quietly 4th car down to that inside lane, and that number 24 magenta purplish car playing it quietly here today, but he has everything already in the bag, just getting the icing on the cake. And then look at Nico Servideo. He was just last in the line, literally dead last in line. And no, I'm here to play, he says. He's middle of the pack in the top 10 now.
And Nico Servideo looking for something to turn his season around. This is a 6th start, no top 10s in his name whatsoever. So looking for something here, just trying to get a glimpse of the front or maybe a top 10 on the day. If he wins, this would be amazing. And that's the thing about Talladega, with it being the regular season cutoff. There's guys that are so far back in points where a win won't put them in the playoffs, but it could take someone else out of potentially winning their way through. Like Anna Sogak in the 88, he is 30. Yeah, he's 30th in points. But if Reese Schaefer could win, that would eliminate him from having to worry about winning his way in. That would eliminate his worries, but if that 88 wins, that would just put the 07 in such a rough shape.
Yeah, it makes you think of kind of how the real world, quote-unquote, should be. Kind of the winning in works to a certain extent. It's actually how they did it in the real world till about mid-2010s, where there was that wild card system. If you were in the top 20 and you weren't in the top 10, you kind of got a bonus win. I know Jeff Gordon took advantage of that once. Kind of a good mixture of not allowing the bottom of the pack in, but allowing drivers to win their way in and take those opportunities. Speaking of opportunities, there goes Schaefer top to bottom. He clears for the lead, but maybe very short-lived. Tandem to the top with the 93 and the 17 having a head of steam. Middle lane seeming to slow down a little bit. Just as I say that, the top loses its steam. 27 of Beckner and the 07 of Schaefer in command of that inside lane along with Jonathan Evans.
Yeah, now Schaefer's going to lead the inside. Beckner back in the middle. They're a little spaced out on that bottom, so I would expect the middle to get a good shove going into 3. Beckner now clears Reese Schaefer, leading the race and leading the bottom line as well. 88 of Anna Sogak, I don't think there's a time where he's been behind someone other than the leader, because it's just been that far out, and he's been so good. As Greg Mitchell in the 2, he's closed the gap between him and Jonathan Evans now in the 26. So inside lane has some sort of stability going into turn 1.
Yep, and those laps ticking down further and further. Lap number 33, and again, my loose estimate, anywhere from 36 to 40 usually is the pit window here on the plate tracks, and that very much is dictated by where you are in line. Someone like Travis Beckner, his fuel strategy, his fuel mileage is going to be significantly worse. I wished I was Amazon Prime and I had a burn bar right now. I don't have one of those, but you'd have to imagine if we did, his fuel mileage is going to be a lot worse because he's been up front leading lanes full throttle. But then you have someone like Sebastian Marin, maybe even a Nico Servideo, a Greg Mitchell, someone in the middle of the pack. They've probably been putting around 60% fuel this whole time. They probably could run maybe an extra 2-3 laps.
Yeah, that's the tough thing about leading. Wiggly bump there from the 07 to the 27 as Anna Sogak's back in the lead. That's a tough thing about leading because you can't really save fuel. The draft helps out a good bit here, but if you're in front of that, then you're not going to be the beneficiary of any of that. Everyone else is benefiting off of you. That's why we're seeing so many guys on the inside line now, and I think that means we're coming up on pit stops here in just a handful of laps.
Yep, and just getting up, so I'd have to imagine it might even be sooner than lap 36. That'll give us our indication of what the rest of the race may entail, but where they're getting single file out now, they'll have to make that decision, make that call out on the radio. Who is going to pull in to the pits thus far? Nobody taking that left-hand turn. There's about 10 lanes of real estate down there, Hunter. And we'll see drivers in all 10 of those lanes spacing themselves out, getting slow, getting down to speed, and then ultimately funneling into about the 3-lane pit road.
Yeah, they'll use all 10 lanes, and then some might still find their way inside the grass like we saw in that first set of stops. So nothing's always getting. That was only with about 5 or 6 cars. So imagine that with about half the field coming in.
Yeah, which is why some drivers, those team affiliations, if you have 4 drivers on your team, maybe you're partnering with another team that has 3 drivers, maybe you can get away with 7 drivers coming in and kind of doing that strategy. Of course, manufacturer relations here on iRacing, not to the same level of real life, but sometimes you'll coordinate with other teams to expand your team, expand your bandwidth. And here comes Beckner, here comes Anna Sogak. Are they going in? Just the 2 of them. They can make it if they try, but they will have Slaughter, they will have Wright, and one other. That would make, who's that, Casey Lakatis there, so that's 5. They were pretty separated. If they're going to be able to coagulate together upon exits, they're going to be a different story.
Oh, Beckner, he overshot his pit stall, saw him backing up.
Yep, so that'll cost him time. And again, luckily for him, they did have a couple drivers towards the back of their field. So he'll come out with at least Slaughter. There's Anna Sogak. Anna Sogak with a long stop. Is it a pit penalty long stop? We don't quite know yet, but I'll try to sort that out. But let's see, coming off turn number 4. Anybody this time by? It will be an empty road for the pits.
Yeah, that's a head scratcher for the 88, but the 27,
penalty.
He definitely. Oh, that's going to be huge for Anna Sogak, but the 27 definitely slid his pit box, so that's a minor mistake compared to what the 88 just did.
But luckily, he does have Brad Slaughter behind him, and in front of him, there's nobody. Where's Casey Lakatis? Casey Lakatis. Him and Jeff Wright, they are just surpassed by that Nate Stewart pack, which means they will get caught by the leaders in no time at all. So interesting to see how this shuffles out. And here we come off of 3 and 4, 37 on the board. So again, this is right in what I believe to be the heart of the pit window. Any hard takers to the left? That's a negative. So we've had a pit stop cycle on 17. We had a pit stop cycle around 34. Everybody else seems to be getting every last drop out of it.
And some guys are comfortable with the fuel run that they're with right now, or they could be trying to stretch it to possible 1 stop, although I don't think that'll happen. Got to go about 5-6 more laps maybe for that. And then there's always the possibility of overtime. Monday we used all 3 of our attempts in the Cup Series, and I think there was only 1 attempt used in the Truck Series, along with the unofficial green white checker attempt. But we've had 4 overtime finishes in this race before. Most recent one was last season, so it can happen. So you got to keep that in mind, especially for fuel preservation mode for some of these drivers.
Yeah, don't call it a... well, hopefully Mark Martin's not in the chat, because if you call it overtime, yeah, he gets pretty upset there. I watched the Kenny Wallace podcast here today. That was a pretty good watch. If you like your podcast. If you also like your podcast, check out the High Banks podcast. 2 blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Episode 228 has Jacob Bell, but they have done a myriad of episodes ever since. They are on Spotify. The High Banks podcast. Last time round, we did not have still any pit stops to be had. So now we're pushing lap 40. Like you said, 44, I think, is a Herculean stretch, especially having her on a pace lap on top of it. But, you know, maybe, just maybe, but I expect pit road this time by. They have singled out even more aggressively than before. I expect some hard left turns and some heavy braking. Let's see if I'm right. I'm wrong. What else is new? Look at that snake. That's a full field snake. We haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I don't really know what else it could be other than just trying to save it and make it a one-stop, which kind of makes me question the decision by the 4 drivers earlier to come in and pit, and then the group of 6 that pitted around lap 16.
Well, there's a reason we're up here and we're not down there. And you can see that pack entering turn number 3 that was ahead of them. That includes Nate Stewart. That includes a couple of those drivers who already pitted. Let's take a look at some of them. I know Slaughter, Beckner. You saw Beckner overshoot his box, but at least he's in a main draft now. So that main draft, they're running 51.1s, basically on pace with the leader, so not losing any time. So that's good for them. But now we're eclipsing the lap 40 mark. And I'm just double checking here on the pit exit. Yeah, pit road's still an empty place. We didn't miss any, so we're getting close enough that it makes you think maybe, just maybe, it's possible. Maybe with a caution. That way they can run the bare minimum fuel load to the finish. But here comes some drivers going high. That would make you imply that some pit call-outs are being had and that they don't want to have any issues.
Either that or they're just tired of running the single file and want to get some sort of track position going, which could be the reason, or could be the other one that you mentioned where we could see some pit stops.
Hey, I was right this time. It happens every now and then. Here comes the charge in. Furnace coming into the pits. Let's see if everyone manages to make it through. Anybody in the grass? Not that I can see. So drivers did a good job this time around. Now they still have... Oh, they saw the Dr. Pepper car. I think that's Francis Hamilton. He missed the pit. So he had to back up. So that will cost him. Will he be able to stay in the draft? And still on circuit, we have about, say, 9 cars being led by Connor Horn.
I think that's the group that didn't pit. Still have to pit. I would assume they'd all pit together. If not, that's pretty intriguing, to say the least. But, yeah, it looks like everybody else is coming down.
Yep, here they come, and on board with Sebastian Marin, just watching a pit stop come here to play. 73 of Nichols got a little slideways, locked it up, but you know, everybody made that pit sequence successfully. Now you have to blend down the 3 lanes of traffic, find your stall in and amongst everybody else, and then more importantly, you have to stop in your stall without overshooting it, which we've already seen about 3-4 times. And I just saw, I think, Batby overshoot his box. Marin not making that mistake, which you wouldn't expect him to. But some tires going up. Expect at least 2 tires here under a green flag stop, but some taking 4. Maybe the fuel load requires and allows 4 tires to be had. Furnace getting out very early comparatively.
Maybe the car is just fading away with grip. I mean, 40 laps, that is pretty long for a super speedway, but I think this is everyone all cycled out, and that case, it would be Brad Slaughter and Travis Beckner that would cycle through to be the leader, because these guys that just came off pit road, they can't merge yet. They can't pull a Kevin LePage there. They have to wait until the backstretch to merge back onto the racetrack, and right at that blue cone, they can come back up, but the pack is roaring, and I doubt they would want to do that.
Yeah, they are coming down full song, and due to how many drivers were in that pack, they got up to speed rather quickly, and that second pack, they're blending out right around the 12th position, but they're going to have Joseph Berg. They're going to tag along to him, and that will kind of be the elastic that snaps the field back into one. So impressively enough, we're going to have essentially the entire field back together once again here at now the start of the halfway lap here in the race. And due to the fact that this has been a green flag race, we haven't got to shout out any of our partners yet. And of course, one of them, of course, being on the hood of that number 27, who we were talking about earlier, Travis Beckner, Hendry County Racing is back at Hendry County Motorsports Park on June 21st.
Brad Slaughter.
We'll finish that in a second, but Brad Slaughter, he is against the Alabama Gang super stretch wall there. That will be our first caution here of the race, just past halfway. There's Beckner. Just as I was doing the Hendry County read, Travis Beckner, a little bit of a push too strong to the back of that number 8. Solo car wreck, not something that happen too often here at Talladega. Our Hendry County replay. So much
interesting one.
Yeah, so much Hendry County replay going on at the time of the Hendry County ad read as the Hendry County car makes contact. That doesn't make the sponsor happy. I don't know what will. But yeah, right on exit, that's where the car is loosest, lightest, but little tiny kiss to the wall. Well, I guess more than tiny, but hopefully the damage model plays nice to him there and no engine damage and allows Slaughter to keep chugging along.
Make him happy and unhappy. Happy because they get TV time. Unhappy because of the reason they're getting TV time in the first place, that being at the hands of Travis Beckner with the bad bump to Brad Slaughter, bringing out the first yellow of the night.
Well,
about halfway through the race now, and I think Justin Bolton's got the free pass out of it.
And Lucky Dog, as long as, and this is something that's very easy to happen at plate tracks, if the incident, because in iRacing you get incidents if any kind of contact off track, even bump drafting can give you a 0x incident. And if you have a 0x incident on the screen at the same time as the caution, you don't get the Lucky Dog, to my knowledge. Being said, I believe Nate Stewart was queued up as the first one a lap down, but he's pitting with everybody else. So that would assumedly succumb his free pass. And a Sogak is on track now, so presumably he did receive that free pass. He zooms by the Mustang. Yeah, he will get the free pass. So I wonder, it seemed to me like it should have been Stewart, but again, maybe he had an incident on the screen, a bump draft at the wrong time. All these cameras are terrible, but that'll keep Nate Stewart one lap down. Travis Beckner also getting the incident ding there, and I may as well read it. I mean, we were just talking about Hendry County enough for bad reasons, only pertaining to the fact that that wreck was instigated, but for good reasons. Racing is back. You can catch them on the 21st, which is in 2 days if you're watching this live, for the stock and modified demo derby, reverse direction flagpole race, and more. Don't miss the final events before the summer break. Tickets for $20 for adults, age 5 and under, get in free. You can get a family pack of 4 for $25. Come see the southernmost dirt track in America, includes enough Highway US 27 at HendryRacing.com.
It's the last chance to get to see the flagman Travis Beckner wave the flags for the races held this weekend, as summer gets a little bit too hot in Florida, so taking a couple months off, summer break, and then they'll be back in September.
Yeah. Florida in the summer. I did go to the Coke Zero 400 2023, and yeah, never again. Nothing, not for the fact that Daytona is not an amazing facility, and it's a night race. But yeah, 95 humidity, absolutely no thanks for me. That is a little bit too hot. But things that aren't too hot, and they might be for you, is Rick's Hot Sauce. You can head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces in South Florida. The Lokahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, and South Beach Heat. You can follow that Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Cup Series on Monday nights. See who will take that prize over there. That's rickshotsauce.com, and I think we're going to have some one-to-go top-offs here. 42 to go.
Yeah, it never hurts, especially if you can go about 40 laps or so on a tank of fuel. I doubt we see another caution-free 40-lap stretch to the finish, but
you never know.
Wouldn't hurt. Yeah, you never know.
It's always Murphy's Law. What you plan for is not what actually happens. So if you don't plan for it, you'll need it. If you plan for it, it'll be unnecessary. It's just the way that kind of real life works. You know, you have a storm coming, you get all the batteries, the flashlights ready, you board up the windows, and it turns out it was just a breeze. Or if you don't even want to know what happened. That's just how life is. Always prepare. Better to be prepared than underprepared. But Beckner will be our leader. Zach Kerr, the Aussie, outside of the front row, and it's good to see that an Aussie able to race competitively on a plate track. You know, the ping levels, the network issues that sometimes happen with our international friends, not seeming to happen here today. Zach's connection has been solid. I haven't seen any warping or anything of that nature, so good to see he is P2. Reese Schaefer and Matthew Batby going to be in row 2, and our first driver to top off, when again, only one extra lap, so it's nothing huge, but just worth noting. It'll be John Forbes on back. Everybody topped off there on that one to go. And I believe that will force everybody who pitted on one to go. Yep. They are all going to have to grid up single file. So that won't have a huge effect, but it'll take a lap or two longer for that pack to, as I like to say, coagulate, which is not the correct word in the dictionary, but that's just what I like to say. It'll take a little bit longer for them to group back together, because on one to go, if you pit, you do go single file.
It's a fun word nonetheless. It's going to be a weird restart, though.
Yes, indeed it will. It's only going to be it's going to be our first restart of the race. We had the initial start. This is our first caution of the race, so our first time to actually head into our legitimate UnitedRentals.com restart zone. It's going to be Travis Beckner versus Zach Kerr, with Schaefer and Batby to provide assistance in row number 2. Green flag in the air. Let's get restarted. And I'll tell you, both outside row and second row dead sleeping. Beckner has what I would say an unhealthy gap here on the restart.
Yeah, especially at Super Speedway, you get swallowed up pretty quick, so will be fun to see this one go for Beckner, although only 3 cars on that outside lane. Don't think it will go too badly for him, but Zach Kerr giving it his all with Matthew Batby on the outside, and he'll try to go on the bottom, and he will just barely clear Beckner.
Will, and that'll leave just Servideo and Batby on that outside lane, and now I think the remainder of the pack is closing in. That's Marin. Really the first time we've seen Marin play the aggressor at all here today. He is on that outside lane. Usually he's been just kind of chilling on the inside, working along. He is drafting along with, I think, Scioli. Is that the first time we've said Scioli in this broadcast? I believe it may be. Working with Marin, and then it looks like all those drivers who were single filed out, they are starting to catch up and get double file, but I'll actually hold that back because it seems as though there's a little bit of a gap behind that 64 of Ed Robertson. They may be still on the yeah, there's going to be a wreck. Let me just have some space. They might be on that strategy.
Now, what a difference a lap makes. Now we're multiple rows of 2 wide and 3 wide now towards the back as Batby goes low. He'll clear for the lead. Nico Servideo going to leave that second lane with Sebastian Marin pushing him through.
Nico Servideo and that number 18, again, a driver that we don't talk about too often. 5-time winner in NASCAR Racing 2003. Question how many racers in this league haven't even been born during NR 2003's release. I would imagine at least a couple of them, but I always appreciate an old-timer there. And getting some information in chat, and it seems to be eradicated. Weishart thinking that there's going to be a lot of fuel saving to end this out. And then he is told never mind. So maybe his numbers got corrected in talking to his teammates here as we go 3 abreast for the race lead. Looks like Opplinger to the outside with the push from Nate Stewart. Stewart is off of the lead lap, but trying to get it back the old-fashioned way.
He's giving it to that 55. He's pushing him towards the front. Had the lead at one point, but now is faded as the middle lane prevails with Nico Servideo, Sebastian Marin, and Marin's going to go low. Servidio's going to stay in the middle. Nate Stewart 34th. Again, he is currently 13th in points. He has about a 22-point cushion to that top 20 threshold, so not in it yet. As far as playoffs is concerned, not officially, but we'll have to wait and see at the end what happens and what the official end result is, because as Marin's in the lead, that's 71 of Matthew Bappy. You're getting a good look at here. He is 23rd in points. He is 24 points below that top 20 threshold. If he wins, there's a good chance that he could possibly point his way in barely. So some things will need to go his way, but not out of the case for the 71 yet.
And I'll tell you, as a driver, the calculation's even harder because we haven't had any attrition at this point in the truck race. I think we already had 4 or 5 drivers out of it, so you could kind of calculate, who would be completely out, who's losing a lot of points, where is there opportunities to gain with everybody in it. There's really no way to tell. All right, this guy's he might fall out of the top 20. He may be able to gain. He's having a good run. None of that is clear. All still on the table here at Talladega. Our pit cycle, we are expecting everyone to have enough to make to the end, but that could be up in the air. John Furness here, he is out to his lonesome here. Not sure how that happened, but he's going to drop to the inside, respectfully get out of the way. Don't want to force them 4 wide unnecessarily.
Yeah, tough for Furness too. He entered 7 points below that top 12 threshold for the playoffs and just on points alone. So he's already in the deep hole, but again, we still haven't seen the big one yet, and laps are still on the board, so never say never as far as that's concerned, because that's honestly what he's going to need. He's dead last, 2 laps down. He's going to need something to at least get back on the lead lap, let alone have a solid finish for the day. And it's still 4 rows of 3x3 up front with Opplinger on the outside, Servideo in the middle, and Marin pushed to the lead once more by Matthew Bappy.
And I'm just following all of our channels here of information there, Hunter, and again, Wiseheart in our chat just kind of giving us some good insight, says that he thought fuel mileage was on the table and it's off the table, and he's unsure of it. Remember, we saw drivers go to lap 42 and then they pitted, and how much saving is going on. He predicted we'd see single file and guys putting around, and you can see at the back of the pack we are seeing single file. You see all the way back there that Busch car, Justin Bolton, 25th on back. They are single file, so there is a lot of fuel saving happening here, and I'll say there's fuel saving in this pack too. But again, the leaders, now you have Marin, Servideo, Opplinger. They're not saving fuel running here up front, so they're going to be stretching it to lap 42, and they're also using more fuel. That could be interesting, but again, will this go green? You already say no, but you never quite know as we have 34 to go.
Yeah, and some shuffling going on. Marin now in the middle, Bappy in the bottom with Bryce Senesac in the 09, and those guys on the bottom, Bappy, Senesac, and Kerr in the 12. They're all winless on the season, along with Opplinger, along with Servideo. So these guys, again, they're up front. They're not worried about fuel. They're worried about trying to get a win and putting themselves in the best spot possible towards the end of this race. Daniel Day in the 61. He's near the top 10. He's 15th in points. He needs a good points finish or possibly a win. That's still on the table for him, but something's going to need to happen because he's stuck on that outside lane and everybody else is just flying by on the bottom.
Somebody else stuck right now, Philip Groner in that 11. And it's just hard to believe, a name that we talk about all the time. But in these 2 plate races I've covered this week, Tuesday night, I don't think I said his name once, forgot he was in the race, and up until now, forgot he was in the race. He's just been kind of running methodically there and in that middle of the lane, and up front they are just all over the place. Nate Stewart now leading that outside charge, and remember, if he gets the lead, he's back on the lead lap, and then he won't have to free pass. But if he gets the lead, if he doesn't get the lead, then he's going to have to take that free pass when it happens. Either way, he'll be happy to get back on the lead lap, but only way that happens is if we go astray, and that single file chart seems to be getting longer and longer. Patience, maybe fuel saving might be coming into play. I know patience late in the race, kind of hard to believe.
Bappy, a little patience wearing thin between him and Senesac in the 09. Had a moment there in 1 and 2. Everything's fine for now, but Forrest Smith is one cheering for Nate Stewart to get in front of the leader, because if that does happen, that yellow does come out, Forrest Smith would then be the lucky dog. So as it stands right now, Nate Stewart's leading the pack. He's not leading the race, but if a yellow comes out, then Forrest Smith would be the lucky dog. Nate Stewart, the last car on the lead lap, in 34th.
He is 54 seconds behind the leader, but that's different than saying -1 lap. So he is on the lead lap, locking to the top, and now you can see the inside lane is coming. You'll see that metric change. Goes down to 1 lap as soon as he gets surpassed, if he gets surpassed by those drivers. And that's just how dynamic it is. And, you know, who'd have thunk, what if the caution came out right now? How frustrating would that be? You're like, you're in the position, but you might have lost the lead lap by about a matter of half a car length. So all things to happen here today. But other things to happen and things that are entertaining is Elite Entertainment. Add some life to your party with Elite Entertainment in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. They provide a high-quality band production to entertain at any location, karaoke, singo, and more. Visit the link tree in the description, Elite Entertainment. Get one of the partners here with Area, as Stewart starts to struggle on that third lane, and somebody back of the pack right there. We're going to pit stop.
Was that Ben Pierce?
Red car back there. I believe it was, yes.
We're just trying to get out of the way. Not sure what that was. Nonetheless, it's still A-OK up front. It's Opplinger on the bottom, Anna Sogak back in the middle. And then Nate Stewart again on that outside lane, still a lap down. Opplinger now choosing to go into the middle, block the momentum, and choosing to take the push, as there's a little, wouldn't necessarily say drafty car, but it's that one game on the PC I can't remember, but it had a similar camera angle to this until they go to the turn. And now Daniel Day to the inside of Nate Stewart. Again, 15th in points. Day needs a win to clinch himself a spot in the playoffs. He's close to points alone, but that might not be enough, so he'll give a shove to the 88 and throw his hat in the mix, possibly taking the lead.
No, I must have told him, hey, you just got some camera time on the broadcast. Make the most of it. He says, all right, hold my beer. I'm going to go for the race lead. He's going to give the push to the beer car of Justin Anasogak. Anasogak just having a phenomenal week driving here on these plate tracks. I know the result didn't show on Tuesday night, but he has been not afraid to make those aggressive moves as he goes top to bottom, takes the push back from Day, but Opplinger has the phenomenal run from Nico Servideo on that inside lane. Bryce Senesac to the inside. Here comes Marin. Again, he's just been running in that mid-pack most of the race. Greg Mitchell top 10, and again, now if you are a Nate Stewart fan, lucky dog it is. He is about 10th in line on that outside.
Still pretty far back as well, 34th in the race, so not sure what that does points-wise for him yet, but still have less than 30 laps to settle it out as we're across lap 59 complete onto lap 60, and it's down to 2 lanes now. Well, Furness jumping up on the outside lane with the run he's got, but up front it's Anasogak on the bottom. Daniel Day on the technically middle, because that third lane is being used by Furness, but he's the only car up there at the moment.
Yes, he is, and that line there of single file goes back to about 18th. I saw Justin Bolton in it, but I think he got bored and decided, all right, let me try to go do something. There's the 74, Ryan Nowicki. Wow, from this angle, those flags look even bigger than I thought they did there from that turn 3 digger cam. But Nico Servideo up front, who was I talking about? Oh, somebody coming down in the pits. That is Forrest Smith. He was one of those lap down drivers. Not sure what is the constitution of pitting this time by, but that'll take him well out of contention, multiple laps down. And here comes Daniel Day. He has the run. He changes lanes. That's 61. Wants to get some lead time, wants to get a lap led here at Talladega.
All that does is push out the 87 of Blaze McKinney, who's currently the last driver in on points for the playoffs. He entered 10th in points, but only a 7-point cushion from the top 12 in points. So Opplinger would be the next one that's at, well, I shouldn't say at fault, but he would be the next one in line if points were to go down from a new winner inside the top 20, which that would be Daniel Day in the 61, or Anna Sogak, 30th in points, could just wipe that away, say, no, thank you, I want the win for myself. Screw you and your playoffs, as he's trying to get the lead away from Daniel Day.
I mean, that would be my strategy at the end of the day. I mean, I've never been good as a teammate, no matter I've been sim racing for years. I tried the teammate thing for a few years. I know Rusty Wallace back in the day when he had Jeremy Mayfield. He's like, can't do it, can't be a teammate, just not good at it. And that's just how I was. But in the name of sim racing these days, you have to be good at it, because that's how you're going to get yourself to the pinnacle where you want to be. Some drivers in this series have been in Road to Pro. They've been in Pro. They've been in the Coke Series. So these drivers know what they're doing and how to get the most out of their equipment and their friends here. But Daniel Day will get the lead. Now we're on 26 laps to go. And John Furness, again, the only driver in that third lane. And he will have to cement himself behind.
Yeah, Furness has a friend.
No wiki, but by that time, the second lane is already exited. And no, he's still dedicated to it. He had a chance, and no, he said, nope, I'm getting this third lane going whether you want me to or not.
And that's as high up as the 74 has been all race, so that he is, I'm not sure how many races he's made, so he's not in playoff contention whatsoever. He is, well, he didn't qualify for Daytona or in a couple others, so this is his first Pro Series start of the season. And see that he's team owner of VAAC Motorsports, in which they swept both Daytona and Talladega races for the truck side of things, so congrats on the team owner side of things there. But driver today looking to get a decent result, as it's still dead even between the 61 and the 88.
That was a photo finish. I'd give it to Daniel Day by about 3/100ths of a second or so that last time around. Now again, Nate Stewart, he needs that old-fashioned lap gained, and he's going to go to the outside with the help from Furness. So somebody's going to make that outside lane work, and now they just need a little bit more help from behind to allow that third run to go. Somebody, that is Forrest Smith, I believe. He just made that unscheduled pit stop, or so we believe. Everybody else is going to have to squeeze by 4 wide to get through, and they will. And they will not.
Oh, wreck! The big one. Caution's out. Guys are slowing down, trying to avoid it. Bappy's involved. Saw Brad Slaughter get a little piece of that. That's the 7 of Scioli. As soon as we turn away for 2 seconds, the big one happens.
Yes. Oh, and it was not Smith. I thought, I was going to say maybe it was them squeezing by, but Scioli, something happened in the vicinity of James Scioli, and that would have been right behind the race leader. Again, as soon as I pan off, I was trying to look for something else real quick, and that's when stuff happens. Let's see what happened. Nate Stewart to the outside. I gotta get one more closer look at it, because it looked as though he just got completely loose by his lonesome. I didn't see a push. Oh, maybe there was. Let's go on board one more time and sort that out, but that should put Nate Stewart on the lead lap. No, he was loose before the contact, which I don't see why. I know I said one more time of it. I mean,
yeah, unless he got hooked on the rear bumper of the 88, that's the only other thing I could think of, other than he just lost on his own. Took out Blaze McKinney as well, who didn't need that to happen. Was looking to point his way in, if not win, but after being caught up in that wreck, it's going to be likely than not that he won't be able to point his way through, as pit stops will... Well, pit road's open this time. If anyone wants to come down pit road, be my guest, go ahead. But Nate Stewart gladly will take the free pass and get back on the lead lap.
And that'll give him about a 30-lap challenge to the end. And we do have a myriad of pit stops. Some shenanigans there. I don't know if they're waiting for their spotters to call them with their positioning, but Nico Servideo, I think, going to be the first one to pit. A bunch of drivers all coming down. Maybe just to top off, just get a set of tires. Why not? You have them available to you. But either way, those drivers will do what they got to do. But we're going to take this opportunity, our first and only. I don't even think we've called a commercial in weeks in this series, but just due to the nature of Talladega, we're going to call a quick break. We'll be back with you guys for the restart. Stay with us, please. All right, we are back. Hope you enjoyed those random copyright-free race cars. After our break here today, our Florida State Builders Pro Series regular season finale, our second caution of the day in our 88-lap affair here at the Talladega Superspeedway as we get ourselves situated and find out who will be racing for a championship and who will not. We were at the edge of a fuel window. About 2/3 of the field came to the pits, topped off, and ensured their viability to the end, and about 10 drivers did not. So whether that's in the play or not, we'll find out together. But we're going to be taking 20 laps to go. It's game time. No more saving, no more putting around. It's time for action there, Hunter.
Absolutely. Fuel mileage not going to be a concern. These guys that did pit, good to go the rest of the way. And it's Daniel Day up front. Greg Mitchell alongside him. Going to restart with around 21 laps to go. Green flag going to be waving once more from Talladega. Will it be the last time we see the green flag waving?
Survey says probably not, but put your bets up here. It's been done. It's been done here in the area. Will it get done here today? We'll find out together. But we are at 21 laps to go, and Marin probably the highest up he's been on the order all day in that second position down to the inside lane. And now here comes a surge. I think this is the first time Greg Mitchell has been in position to lead this race. Reese Schaefer has been a phenomenal pusher on the day. Casey Lakatos, he's in the top 5. That 50 car doing some big things. But yeah, Greg Mitchell, he wants a lap lead. He wants to put his spotlight in the sun.
Yeah, Greg Mitchell, been a downer of a season for him, 29th in the standings. If a win could happen today for him, that'd be phenomenal. He's got one top 10 on the season, but wouldn't be nothing compared to winning at Talladega and taking away a playoff opportunity for someone like Reese Schaefer, who needs a win to get in, or Daniel Day as well. And then there's the 88 and the 27, the two that were up front for the good first half of this race. Two-car tango in to get back up front.
Yep, 17 laps. I'd barter that's probably the most all race long, but Justin Anasogak with that push on the outside. Travis Beckner recovered from that bad pit stop. The caution certainly work in his favor. Braxton DeWeese, he was in that backpack on the verge of going a lap down. He is doing okay, but now they're 3, nearly 4 wide, a little bit further back. Brody Falliker having his connection issues, which is only going to be even more terrifying, as now essentially the entire field is 3x3. We do have someone dropping off the back there at back of the pack. That is a red and black car. Can't quite make out who that is. That is Nowicki.
He's staying behind the storm because this is about as intense as it's been. Lots of 3-wide action. A lot of guys rotating towards the front. Saw that 88 drop down to the middle lane. He'll be leading through this time. And Braxton DeWeese is going to give a big shove to Travis Beckner. DeWeese, 21st in points. A win would likely put him inside the top 20, but Daniel Day is trying to prevent that and put his name inside the playoffs with a win.
And just look at this shot here. It's not the Indy 500 starting lineup 3x3. This is live racing at about 190 miles an hour. The middle lane, usually my favorite lane to run in these Xfinity cars. I feel like you get the surge off both sides. Beckner clears himself by about 2 feet, but him and Anasogak have kind of have that move mastered, and now going all the way to the bottom of the track. Top to bottom elevator move. Beckner third lane down to first. Will get the opportunity in front of Daniel Day, but here comes DeWeese. DeWeese and Berg leading that third charge.
Yeah, not a surprise there to see Beckner making the moves that he's doing, especially this late in the going. Still 18 to go, but wants to set a tone, wants to stay in front, and being aggressive is the way that he is programmed to work. Braxton DeWeese now to the middle lane, and Joseph Berg trying to do a last from first challenge. He started dead last in this field. Now he's leading the third lane with Jonathan Evans behind. And I kind of counted out Blaze McKinney in that 87. He's still in the running. He is that third car on that outside lane, still going strong.
Yes, he is, but let's see what that 93 and on board with Berg right now. And will DeWeese go up to the third lane? We haven't seen many moves up to block the third lane. Usually they have been from the third lane down. But Anasogak in command of that second lane with the push from Mitchell, and you have to imagine, well, Beckner saw the momentum from the 88. He says, I'm going to take it, takes that momentum, and now he's going to use that momentum to get the opportunity to get to the outside of DeWeese. But now that third lane charge, here it comes, and do I see a fourth lane? Couldn't quite tell. That may have just been getting for some air. I think that was, who was that? The 87 of McKinney. I think he was just getting some fresh air.
Yeah, that third lane can work, but they get overheated pretty quick, so wouldn't be surprising if he tried to get some clean air before going through the turns. As Beckner's still leading through, DeWeese on that bottom, and Sogak in the middle, and Berg with a strong charge to the outside with 17 to go. Make it 16 to go as they head into turn one.
Yeah, worth noting, Ryan Nowicki, he was not just putting back towards the end of the field. He is has lost the draft about 7 seconds back, so he will need the help of a caution to get back in it. But here comes out Reese Schaefer. He went middle lane to top lane, takes the run from Berg, and now he is going to see what he could do with that run down the back straightaway. Will he clear? Everybody who has cleared has dropped to the bottom and cleared lanes, but right now this is identical 3x3x3. Talladega does have the room for a fourth lane. It's not easy to run, but it is doable, and I have to imagine there, Hunter, someone is going to try it, and it might happen right now on cue.
Poor Joseph Berg's in the sucker hole on that fourth lane now. He's getting sent to the back. Jonathan Evans made the move, and everybody else behind is following suit. No one wants to try four deep, or they're still going to try it through the turn, but again, it's still Joseph Berg to his lonesome. No one else going to go with him. That separates the two outside lanes a little bit. The inside lane still going strong. Berg now going to get settled in line, and we're back to 3x3 racing once more.
Yeah, just a you know, a very boring and basic 3x3. But look at Nate Stewart, 05. He's up to 12. He's been batting with 2 strikes this entire race because he was down a lap, or very close to a lap, the majority of it. Now he can play. Now it counts for that 0-5. See what he can do from that third lane. He's kind of stuck now. That third lane's really stagnated for the time being, but Travis Beckner is not stagnated, has the run. He should be able to clear. He will do just that. Now the 88, he's going to have the help from Mitchell. Will Mitchell go up to the third lane, or will he take that push from the 50 of Lakatos and shove it to Anna Sogak?
Only time will tell, because as the laps dwindle, so will the reaction rate and the hesitation, like we saw Tuesday night. And that could create something catastrophic, as Beckner's still leading. DeWeese with a strong push. He can go up and lead the middle lane if he wants to, but he's going to stay tucked into the bottom for now. And there he is, Jake Nichols in the 73 leading that outside lane once more. Beckner's going to go up and try to block the middle. Just left the door open for DeWeese, and a wiggle from the 27. These guys are checking up, and we're 4 wide once more.
Yes, we are. We are 4 abreast from about 3 rows back, and we're not 4x4. It is a lone car out, actually. I think we're trying to go 4x4. Look at this mess. Can we squeeze through? Poor Reese Schaefer going all the way to the lonesome, but this is the most consolidated 3x3. Into the safer barrier on corner exit is Schaefer. He was going as high as he could and a little bit too high, but everybody maintained, and he should be all right to get back up to speed. But up front, look at the shuffle and move it all around. Again, Jake Nichols has been so quiet this week with his moves, but now quiet time is over. He wants to show what he's made of. He wants to get that 73 in victory circle.
Yeah, that would be perfect for Jake Nichols to get a win before the season began. And Jonathan Evans going 4 wide again. This time he's got help. And now this is going to be really interesting, because Jeremy Miller, teammate of Jake Nichols, not going to follow suit. It's going to get real tight in the turn 1 with now 2 rows of 4x4 racing. Nate Stewart into the wall, one of the cars that was trying to go with Jonathan Evans. He'll slap the wall and fade to the back as the... Well, yeah, they worked it just fine coming down the back.
Yeah,
still some shuffling going on.
Nate Stewart was up to 12th, no longer in 12th, but luckily should be able to get back up to speed. Hopefully, you know, those carbon fiber bodies usually can take that little bit of a hit. Ed Robertson behind him in that 64, giving him the push, but is it going to be too late to get back to the front? I'm pretty sure Jeremy Brown said he was 22nd on a green-white checkered, and he won on Tuesday night. If you're in the shuffle, there is a chance. And some contact data in a Sogak there through the tri-oval. That's the most difficult part of the track. You get really light from there with that 18 degrees of banking, making a modest turn. But now the 87, Blaze McKinney, he's in charge of the third lane now. Jake Nichols trying to give him a push, and there goes Beckner with his famous block up the track, going all the way to the third lane. Can't go back down because here comes Daniel Day with the run, and then here comes McKinney up top. And we're wrecking on the back.
The Ada Slaughter gets turned around. Furnace involved as well. The caution's going to come out. Ben Pierce spinning as well. That all happened after Beckner made his move. Coming in the middle, they had the checkup, and that's what created this caution.
Yep, that indeed is the case here. The 65, Ben Pierce, Brad Slaughter. This is going to be a week to forget for you number 8 fans. Let's take a look here at our Hendry County replay. He is in the middle. Yeah, we'll have to get a slightly different perspective of that because it just, I mean, it seemed like just a bunch of coagulation going wrong here. I'll try to get a perspective from John Forbes because he was directly behind. Ultimately, it was a push, but that wasn't the push. Oh, the 26 of Evans, for one reason or another, kind of came down the track.
He bounced off the wall after the accordion affected the checkup in the middle, somehow resulted in Evans getting put into the wall and then bouncing off it into the 8.
Yeah, that camera doesn't do justice either. Again, some of these camera packs I have are quite difficult to maneuver here, but we'll try a drone shot. We just might be able to do it. Watch that outside lane. Yeah, 8 kind of forced him up the track for one reason or another, and then that just got the 26 all up and in a bad spot, and then there is the wreck that ensued behind. But ultimately, Blaze McKinney was up front at the time of yellow, so that puts him up front. And Daniel Day still in second. This puts us sub 10 laps to go. We'll see how much damage came from that. Obviously, Brad Slaughter, he is going to be the worst off from that. I know, I think I saw Ben Pierce in a less than advantageous position. Actually, I'm looking at Brad Slaughter. I mean, the back don't look great, but the front looks fine. You know, maybe 30 seconds of repair. He might still be able to draft pretty competitively.
Yeah, there's still the possibility for a big one. I know I shouted earlier a big one, but really wasn't. Multi-car wreck, but yeah. If there's still 20, 30 plus cars in the field, then didn't wreck him up yet, but we're getting close to it because we're going to be within, well, we're already in single digits with laps left in the race, and the aggression level we already talked about, it's going to be all the way up to 11. And the moves are going to be quicker. The reaction time going to be a lot shorter. You're going to have to make these decisions a lot more quicker, and that could result in a chaotic crash.
Yep, and that is what happened there, and what could happen there is another chaotic crash, and you know, somebody looking for that last second in maybe causing themselves another issue here today, and just got to be able to get around it. But our top 10, McKinney, Day, Beckner, Nichols, and Deweese, the top 5. Anna Sogak, Miller, Marin, Wright, and Mitchell, the top 10. Not too many surprises, I'd say, in this top 10. So all in all, still everybody you'd expect there. I'd say if any surprise, it'd probably be Blaze McKinney. He's not someone you usually see the top 5, usually a top 15-ish driver, but still the majority of guys you'd expect to see up front, the majority of them are still there in competitive ability right now.
Yeah, McKinney entered 10th in points, and the last one into the playoffs currently on points, but with him being in the lead, doesn't really matter. If he loses that lead to Daniel Day, though, that would put him outside because he would be the first one out. Daniel Day, a new winner, would be the next one in. Travis Beckner, he's already good. 5th in points right now. Same with Jake Nichols. He's inside top 5 in points. Braxton Deweese, 21st in points. If he can get himself into the lead and possibly win, could lock himself in. Anna Sogak, 30th in points. He's just going for wins. He doesn't care about missing the playoffs or anything like that. Jeremy Miller, this is one we haven't really talked about. 28th in points. No, he can't point his way in even with a win. But a win would boost his confidence for the rest of the season in area. Looking through Sebastian Marin, he's just trying to get 6 wins, trying to maximize his bonus points for the playoffs. Jeff Wright in the 48, pretty sure he's good. He's 6th in the standings. And then Jonathan Evans, 14th in the standings. Could point his way in, but would like to have a win to his name before this one's said and done.
Exactly that. You know, was it Jeremy Brown who won Tuesday night? He didn't get put in the playoffs from it just due to his positioning, but again, he said this was the best win of my career, beating some of these area guys as high upper echelon as this series is. And admin, if you're interested in knowing, you know, who got deemed at fault for that last caution, that big one, it was just called a big old stack up by our admin. So I don't think any necessary blame was put there. Again, putting 4 wide and all the stuff that comes from it. That is just the name of the game here. But now the intensity, it was at 10, it was at 11. Do we have a 12 there on the dial? Don't quite know, but I would have to venture that the answer is going to be yes. We're going to go green with 7 laps to go. As you've been talking about all race, giving us that insight, Hunter. We got guys who need the win for just confidence, guys who need the win for the playoffs to get into it, guys who need the win to get more playoff points. And all that comes together. Usually something gonna happen.
Yeah, that could be the case. Something bad could happen. My cat is looking at me like, what's going on? Well, you're about to find out in the next 8 laps, coming to 7 to go this time. Whenever this one is done, could go into overtime once, twice, thrice. Could have a, well, I was gonna say a 4th overtime, but it would be a natural overtime finish. It wouldn't be a scheduled 1, 2, 3 attempt overtime finish. But nonetheless, we still have a winner to settle out here. Could it be Blaze McKinney bringing the field back to green, or will it be Daniel Day winning his way into the playoffs for season 7 of the Area Pro Series presented by Florida State Builders?
And the jump definitely went to McKinney on the inside, but as we've discussed a few times here already, a jump here at Talladega, not always the best thing. Luckily for him, Beckner had nowhere to go with that momentum. Just gave a shove to the rear deck lid in the 61 and the 73. They will be working in tandem on that outside lane, and Justin Anasogak, I wouldn't put any bets on him helping. He is going to be looking for himself, and that's what he's going to be doing, going for that run. But actually, Sebastian Marin, he's going for that 3rd lane. That's not what I expect, but we got some slicing and dicing guys trying to save themselves going below the apron.
Travis Beckner up to the lead with the moves that he's made. Nah, shock, he's been up front almost the entire time. Him and the 88 have been the class of the field so far. But Sogak right in the middle. He'll go up to the outside now, trying to push Sebastian Marin. Actually, that's Jake Nichols through with Marin behind Sogak. McKinney to the lead now with 6 to go.
Blaze McKinney still in the lead. Daniel Day in second, going for the dive down to the inside of the racetrack. He's going to get that run, but that second lane, the first lane rather, not formed up. Beckner finally coming with the push. Don't give him the push on corner exit. You saw the wiggle off of Day. He's able to reconvene the vehicle and get straight, and now we're 3 by 3 essentially for the whole field here. 6 laps to go, nowhere to go. The only way to go is to make a 4th lane, and we saw how that worked out a few laps ago.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to get shuffled out, then be my guest. Go ahead and make a 4th lane. It's Connor Horn blinking in and out in that pack there. Still Daniel Day and Blaze McKinney, Jake Nichols leading their respective lanes as McKinney's getting the draft from, or the shove, I should say, from the 30 of Miller. He'll go up to the outside and now try to throw his hat in the mix for the win. 5 laps to go from Talladega.
Yep, just over 10 miles of racing here from Anniston Air Force Base in Talladega Super Speedway. Area race number 12, regular season finale here for season number 7. Daniel Day has been in front. Now he's going to go to the top of the track. Beckner, who has led a myriad of laps here today, him and Sogak have really led the most. And now Daniel Day, he is in command of the field. That's Nico Servideo. He's into the wall there, back of the field. No caution, remains control. Bad luck for him. He was doing really well earlier on.
Yeah, still clean and green for now. Beckner to the outside. He's going to get that push from McKinney in the middle lane. Miller trying to get something going on that outside lane. Jeff Wright in the 48 helping suit on that middle lane. And Beckner is going to lead at the stripe with 4 laps remaining.
4 laps to go, and if you are a 61 fan, he is in the worst position to be in as a racer, is stuck on that inside lane when drivers are to your outside. You really have nowhere to go, nothing you can do. Just wait for something to happen, wait for an opening to come about. 30 on the top of the track with that late straightaway momentum from the third lane. That's Miller, that's Nichols, that's Anna Sogak. Our biggest aggressor of the race, the 88. He's another one. He's stuck now, nowhere to go with it.
And nowhere to go. Beckner's going to go up and block the middle lane off corner exit, leave the bottom open for Daniel Day, Braxton Luis. Good shoves going on the bottom, but that outside lanes, they're going to get some momentum heading into turn 1. At the line, it's Daniel Day with just 3 laps remaining.
And Daniel Day just trying to get that luck on his side, trying to get that PTR TV quarter panel into victory lane. We would love to see it. Casey Lakatos had a good run on Tuesday night in the trucks. Wants to get that same trend going here today, but Travis Beckner wants that Hendry County Motorsports Park Camaro. He wants to get in victory lane, enter his race weekend on a positive note. Jeremy Miller, a Jeremy won on Tuesday night. Can a Jeremy win on Thursday night? That third lane certainly is competitive, but watch that 27. If it gets going, you know he's going to change lanes.
And he can't really do much now. He just has to stay put in the middle with the shove from McKinney. And now they might try to send him out wide, although that's not going to work. McKinney now to the outside. Jeff Wright pushing in the middle. McKinney leads at the stripe with just 2 laps to go.
What lane do you want to be in right now? It's really, really hard to tell. That third lane gets a run, but it dies out really quick. The middle lane, you're at mercy of who's behind you. The inside lane, you'd say it's kind of old faithful. It's old reliable. That's where Daniel Day is with a lap and a half to go. Can we get to the white flag without issue? If so, we'll finish the race in regulation distance. And I don't make any guarantees, but it looks semi-promising. Look at Jeff Wright of the 48. He's in the thick of it now. Now we're really tight 3 wide through 3 and 4, Hunter.
They're trying to squeeze their way through and make it to the white flag. Beckner will jump up and block the middle lane once more to get some momentum push. Jeff Wright down to the inside. There was a lot of shuffling going on in the back, but it looks like we're going to make it to the white flag. We'll have 1 more lap to settle it out at Talladega.
We're 3 by 3 here at Talladega. It's Jeff Wright. He has led 2 laps in this race. Daniel Day has led the last 15 of the majority of them. He needs the win. He needs it more than the 48 does. He needs it more than Beckner does, but he's stuck to the inside as we come halfway down the back.
Down the backstretch for the final time. It's a drag race between the 48 and the 27. That third lane nowhere to be found as Miller's trying to get something going with Jake Nichols behind. Beckner in the middle, Jeff Wright on the inside. Field still full and coming to the checker flag, coming off turn 4 for the final time. Beckner's going to block McKinney. It's not going to be enough there. Coming to the stripe, the 48's leading through, Daniel Day in front, and now the field explodes behind. They're crashing all over the place, and it's going to be Jeff Wright headed to the victory lane at Talladega.
Oh my goodness, Justin Bolton there with the acrobatics across the stripe, but ultimately, for the first time this season, the Pepsi Camaro of Jeff Wright will get the win. Daniel Day, Blaze McKinney, and Nate Stewart salvages a 4th place here in a very difficult race for him. But we got to go back and watch at least that humongous tri-oval wreck.
I mean, all bets were off.
Yeah, contact with McKinney down to something with Bolton, but watch that number 4 car. Up and at it, shades of Rusty Wallace in the late 80s there.
Across the line, upside down. Don't know where he finished, but he crossed it upside down. That's all that matters.
Bags, folks. And then just look at that carnage in front, but ultimately it works out for one driver, and it works out for Jeff Wright. Now, he was already, you talked about, very safe into the playoff picture. Now he has some bonus points to add to that. You got a feel for Daniel Day, who drove such a good last half of the race. But Jeff Wright, how many laps did he lead on the day out of the 88? He didn't just lead 1, he led 2. So can't just say he led only about 10 feet. He made his justice. He led about 6 miles of racing.
That's the two, well, one of the 2 most important laps to lead in a race at Talladega, and Jeff Wright did just that. Oh my gosh. And we talked about Blaze McKinney. He was the last one in on points heading into this race. A third place finish will probably lock him in. Nate Stewart finished fourth. So that's going to lock him into the playoffs as well, as he's well within the top 20 threshold.
Yeah, exactly that. So we'll get an inkling of that. Maybe if you get the results a little early, we'll get some final information. But here is some preliminarily final information, our unofficial race results here from Talladega. Jeff Wright gets the win over Daniel Day with Blaze McKinney. I think we could safely say we have never talked to either of those three all season, and that will be our podium interviews here this season. For tonight's race, Nate Stewart recovers quite nicely for a fourth. Jonathan Evans, Braxton Deweese, Bryce Senesac, and then we have Forbes. Travis Beckner led so many laps but settles for a ninth, and then Garrett Grant with a 10th.
Coming in 11th, it's Ed Robertson, Brody Falliker 12th, Reese Schaefer 13th. Joseph Berg was up front towards them, but finishes 14th. Greg Mitchell 15th, and it's Slaughter, Anna Sogak, Nowicki, Pierce, Hamilton rounding out the top 20.
All right, our next page of results is as follows. We have Jeremy Miller, Casey Lakatos there. Did a lot positive today, but the results didn't show. Alan Fox, Matthew Batby, Sebastian Marin, he was out just for icing on the cake here today, and luckily didn't need much of it because 25th is where he salvaged. Venable, Kerr, Bolton with the acrobatics over the line, Opplinger and Horn. And then just to round out our last page quickly, we have Jake Nichols, Nico Servideo, 32nd, but he drove much better than that. Furness, Smith, Groner, and Scioli, our race lineup here today. And we'll start with Victory Lane. Hunter, I don't know if you've run down Jamie Little style to find him here on Victory Circle, but let's go and bring in our race winner here today in the form of Jeff Wright.
I could catch up with him.
We'll move him in here. All right, here we go. There he is.
All right, with the race winner, Jeff Wright, and I honestly can't believe how that finish took place. I can only imagine how you felt just having to watch it unfold from your right side, from behind, trying to see if anyone would make a move. Take us through your methodical way of getting to the front and just leading only 2 laps.
Yeah, I mean, crazy finish for sure. We were there when it counted, but the strategy really from the get-go was just trying to stay out of trouble. We came in tonight pretty good on the point situation, and, as long as anything crazy didn't happen, I think we were going to make the chase. So coming here and getting a win was exceeding all expectations, and I didn't expect it. And I know my spotter, Reggie Ortega, he was saying, hey, we're going to win this race. And, kind of, half believing it and just kind of wanting to finish, get the chase started. And he got us in position there at the very end. And then hats off to the teammates up front. That makes it a lot easier too with Travis and Daniel up there. But man, what a push by Daniel. We don't get this win without that awesome push there through the tri-oval. So just hats off to him, and thank you so much. I can't believe we won Talladega.
Unbelievable job for you, and first win of the season. It comes at a pivotal time heading into the postseason with some much needed momentum. Take us through your initial thoughts on Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, Bristol's awesome. It's really fun in short track, being one of the faster ones and a concrete surface. So I'm looking forward to getting out there. It's nice to get a win here to finish things off, so that we can not only build some momentum, but get some more bonus points as we head into the playoffs. So it all helps. But this league is so stacked. There's so many talented guys in here, and just all around really great drivers. And so we got our work cut out for us, but I feel confident that we can go out there and try to compete with these guys and try to get deeper into the playoffs.
This is your race winner and one to keep an eye out for in the postseason. Jeff Wright getting the job done at Talladega.
All right, now Daniel Day with a second, and I'm not sure how he's going to feel about this. He is the first driver to miss the playoffs. So we got Daniel Day. You wind up second here on the day. You wind up 13th in the playoff picture, missing it only by a few points, and the win was yours for a while. You were doing a good job balancing the lanes, and unfortunately the ending of that last restart didn't go your way, man. I mean, what's just the emotions now given everything that happened?
It's hard. It was looking at the points. I was looking at did we make it in? I didn't see that Evan finished fifth, so that definitely was the 2-point difference and 1 spot short. But I'm happy I pushed Jeff to the win. So initial emotions were definitely heartbreaking looking at the points, but overall I'm glad that Century United finished 1-2, and we got 3 4 cars in the top 10. So overall, I can't be upset about that. But yeah, it was a really fun race. I think just getting to the last 30 when we can make it on fuel, I knew we just had to kind of stay up front and try to control the lanes the best we could.
Yeah, I mean, we're unbiased here, but any car that has our channel logo on it, I was pulling for you. I know Casey did great the other day and almost, well, you did replicate that here today, but obviously not getting the win, not making the playoffs. But what does that do for your mindset going into the playoffs? Does it still give you the confidence to kind of play spoiler and just try to, get some confidence for season 8? How do you take a mindset change heading into these final races?
Hey, we're still going to try our best out there. I think this was a definite confident booster, regardless of the results here tonight. But yeah, we're still going to go out every single week and try to help, Jeff and Travis get up as far into the playoffs as possible, and still come out and give our best.
All right, absolutely, man. Again, you made some good show for us. You made it fun to watch, leading some laps, and we'll see you at Bristol next week and see what you can do.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
And now third, again, another driver who almost played spoiler here today. Led some laps, settles for a podium. That'll be Blaze McKinney with Hunter.
Yeah, caught up with Blaze McKinney here, and you entered tonight on the last end of that playoff spot with only a handful of points to your name. If there was a new winner, it would be disastrous for you, and that almost happened, but can officially confirm you're in the playoffs with that podium finish. So take us through your thoughts on that finish and how you were able to get the job done.
Yeah, it was really stressful, especially that last 10 lap run there. Just everybody was not lifting, just pushing hard as they could go. And I mean, we could have ended up in the catch fence at any moment, and then we would not be in the playoffs. But I'm glad it all worked out. I mean, I thought I did all I could do there with switching the lanes and trying to get the runs. It was a really fun race, really, really racy. It wasn't too much of a wreck fest, which was nice. It was kind of a good balance, but it was fun. Good racing up front. Good working with the powerhouse guys. We did a really good job working together. Just came up just a little bit short, but overall it was really good race. Proud to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, so it's got to give you some confidence going into it that you can get the job done and be in the right place at the right time. Take us through your initial thoughts on Bristol, the first playoff race heading into next week.
Yeah, Bristol, I think, is a good opportunity for us. It's been a rough season overall, just kind of up and down, but I'm really hoping to kind of get things in the right direction for the playoffs, and Bristol's a good way to start. I think I ran pretty good there last year, just got caught up in some wrecks, so just really, really looking forward to Nashville. If anything, Nashville's one of my favorite tracks. So I'm really going to hope to at least have a solid finish at Bristol to set us up for Nashville and try to make it into the next round. I mean, a win would be nice. So we're just going to do all we can and, get some practice reps in and try to just get that win.
Got close at the end, but Blaze McKinney podiums his way through, gets the job done, and he is locked into the playoffs. He'll be one to watch out for in the coming weeks. Good luck and have a blast.
Thank you.
All right, so that'll wrap up our post-race show, and a lot cleaner of a finish than we witnessed Tuesday night there, Hunter. These guys put on a phenomenal show, more 3-wide racing than I've seen at Dega in a long time, and ultimately Jeff Wright gets himself those playoff points he's been desiring and gets himself some better staging into Bristol.
Yeah, and looking through, the points shook up quite a bit, even though we didn't have a new winner outside the top 20 in points, or outside the top 12 in points, I should say, because Matt Kemp did not make it to the race tonight, and he was 18th. So after that, he fell outside the top 20 in points, which put a new driver into the playoffs. So looking through the names that we've already pretty much confirmed that are on here: Nate Stewart with his win at Watkins Glen, Marin, Jake Nichols, James Skyley, Beckner, Zach Nichols, Jeff Wright obviously in, John Forbes Jr., Zach Kerr, Blaze McKinney, Justin Opplinger, and then the 12th spot went to Jonathan Evans. Now he finished 5th, solid for him, but coming up just 2 points short was Daniel Day, and he came up 1 spot short in the race. absolutely heartbreaking for that team and that driver.
Yeah, well, he'll have to get over that and head into Bristol, but obviously happy with his result here today to a degree with what he had. Again, Victory Fuel celebrated tonight's victory with Jeff Wright. Jeff Wright has the Pepsi, but he'll have to open a can of Victory Fuel. You get your caffeine-free flavors, Throttle Punch, Purple Potion, Lucky Lemon. Each can packed with electrolytes, charged with low items, and kid-friendly. Get 10% off your order with Area iRacing at checkout. That's Victory Fuel. But stay tuned for the next broadcast. We'll be back live next week with the area playoffs, Tuesday and Thursday night. Of course, Monday night will be on the IDK Player YouTube channel. And then we'll be live with our Triple Bypass and Elbows Out Racing League here on the channel next week. Make sure you stay tuned for that. It's going to be Corey and Hunter signing out of the booth tonight. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.